Good morning, everyone. It's Brenda Quintana here, and it is November. I can't believe we're in November already, but here we are. And today we have a new online exclusive release, and I will be sharing some products from that release today, so that's going to be fun. If you want to see all the products that were released today, go to the Stampin' Up store, just stampinup.com, and look for under the menu online exclusives. There's probably also a banner running across the top of the store that you can click on that will take you right there. But that banner scrolls, so if you're looking for it directly, just know that there is a link to the online exclusives, and that's what they're called. They're not found in a catalog. I will also be sending out an email about the online exclusives, and in that email, it will probably go out tomorrow. Sorry for the lateness, but I don't like to inundate people with too many emails per day, so it'll probably go out tomorrow, and it will have a link to a PDF that will show you all the products on a PDF, which might be helpful for some of you. But if you want to directly see all the products that were released today, just go to the online store and take a look. There are a few products that I am really excited about because they make our life a little easier, and I'm going to be showing them today when we make our card. So today is what we call Casing Tuesday, and that's the day when we take a card out of the catalog and give it a makeover. And this is just such a fun process. It's really great. It's a great exercise, just like artists will do like exercises to make their watercoloring better, or like a singer will do scales, or a musician will do scales to practice things. And I feel like sometimes we need to be able to practice things. And how do we do that in a way where it's not daunting? Is we have this resource. We have these catalogs that Stampin' Up gives us, and those samples can be used as blueprints to create new cards from. And that's where the concept of Casing Tuesday comes from. And we have a Facebook group for that, so that you can join in and practice with us each week. And I will do my live based on the card, but you can post your card, or you can go over to our Facebook group and you can check out how everyone else has interpreted the card and made it different. So there's not really a right way or wrong way. Just every week we do a different card, and we all do the same card. Now, that's not to say that you couldn't go through the catalog and do different cards, and I totally want you to do that. But for the purposes of Casing Tuesday, each week we all work on the same card. And I think that it's really helpful to have a card of the week, because there are some weeks like today, like today's card, beautiful card. I never would have created the card like that because it's too busy for me, and I like things a little clean and simple. But a lot of people will look at the card and will go, wow, that's so beautiful, so gorgeous. I want to make that. And for me, it's too much, but I can use that card as a blueprint. And we have Yolanda, and she's my wonderful helper. She creates the sketches for us each week, and that really helps to break it down. So let's take a look at today's card, and let's use that as a blueprint. This forces me to get out of my comfort zone, because normally I wouldn't look at this card and say, I want to make a new card based on this card, because it's like too much for me. But for me, it helps break down all the parts of the card and make it over. And even if it's not my taste, that's what's going to help you become a better stamper. All right, let's take a look at the card for today. So I love the beautiful background, the die cuts. The leaf die cut, it is beautiful, but it's a lot going on, and my eye does not like busy. My eye likes to kind of, not have so much to look at. So that is just a background though. And if you treat it like a background, then everything else becomes simpler. So when you look at this, you're going to look at and go, wow, there's no way I could create another card like this unless I created it exactly like that. But if we take the individual elements right here, now we can see that, okay, that layer, that shiny layer is just a layer, okay? And we don't have to recreate that same layer. That pumpkin cornucopia area, that's just another area. That greeting is an area. So now that we're breaking it down, this sketch does not look daunting at all. And when I saw the sketch, thank you, Yolanda, this was just like really, really easy for me to break down and figure things out. So let's pop these away. And if you want to get to our Casing Tuesday Facebook group, I have a link down below. I have a link to my blog, and my blog has all the links. So I try very hard to do a lot of links for you because I don't want you to have to look for things. So usually when you get an email from me, a lot of things will be clickable. If it looks like it's clickable, it probably is. A lot of my photos and banners are also clickable, so click away. You can't really, I don't think, unless it's a nefarious email. And if you know it's coming from me, it shouldn't be nefarious. You can click on it and it will take you somewhere that you want to go. So let's take a look at the card. And this is the card front right here. And isn't that simple and beautiful and nice and clean and easy? But what's really cool, I'm using this die bundle called Pop-Up Petals. And I actually did my card front and my inside of my card separate. And the reason I did that was because it's very hard to photograph a pop-up card, and so I wanted to have the front and the pop-up on the inside on the same card, and it's very hard when you have all that bulk. It's really hard to keep it closed to photograph it. So I did my card front on one card, and then I did my pop-up on another one. And today when we create the card, we're going to put the pop-up in this one and the front on this one. So we'll end up with two complete cards, but right now they're kind of separate. But just thought I would let you know. But look how fun this is. This is called the Pop-Up Petals bundle. And the little piece, let me just show you. These are the dies. I kind of just slapped them on there quickly. I hope I got all the dies back on there. These two pieces right here are what create the pop-up pieces. I only use the smaller one. These two here, I'm just going to pop them off of here just so we can see. If you need taller ones, you use the other one, and I use the smaller of the two. These are so easy to use. They do all your cutting and scoring for you, and that way you can get to making the pop-up elements that will go on top of here so much quicker. I just love these. And yesterday I was trolling around the internet to see if anyone had made any cards with this yet, because I didn't even know how to use it yet. I just opened the packaging yesterday, and the samples that I saw used the pop-ups like this, and they had the flowers coming up in a different direction, and they didn't use the vases. And I'm like, well, why don't we use it like this? And this made me a lot happier. But you can do it either way. There's not a wrong way to do it, but I thought this was like the cooler way. And look at that. Know you are loved. I did switch out the greeting. There are greetings that come with this stamp set. Here, this is the Pop-Up Petals stamp set, and let's take a look at that. There's some great greetings in here, but I'm making this for a specific purpose and person even. I'm sending it to one of my relatives who who's sick, and I wanted to do a very special card. So I wanted to change out the greetings, and that's why I changed out. But there are great greetings that you could use right from this particular bundle if you wanted to. So here's the stamp set, and here is the die set. And you will notice starting in November, we have new packaging. It's thinner, and it takes up actually a lot less space because they are thinner. They're a little taller. They're about, let's compare it to what we had before. They are about maybe a 1/4 inch wider than our cases were. And you can see that they're going to take probably about 4 or 5 of these new envelopes are going to fit in the space of one of the old stamp sets. And they are about, I would say, like almost 2 inches taller. So I'll be doing a video on how I'm going to store these. I have not had a chance to figure that out yet. I always feel like you need like a few of something before you want to try and organize it. So I'm not quite there yet, but I like this. Now the dies and the stamp sets are going to be in the same packaging, so they're going to be able to be like side by side or back to back, or you could even put them together in the same envelope if you wanted to. So there's lots of different options. I like that now this die set comes with photos on the front. That's going to help us put the dies back in the same spot. And I still am going to keep my dies on magnet cards inside the envelope, and the same old ones that I've been using, they fit, but I think they make slightly larger ones now that are taller ones for the envelopes, but I'm going to continue to use my smaller ones because for most die sets they are the dies, there aren't that so many, and they will actually fit inside of there. But I am so excited about this card because outside and inside, this is so beautiful and fun and easy. And even if you don't want to do vases and flowers, these little pop-up elements, you can put 1 on there, you can put 2 on there, you can put 3 on there. I think 3 for this card is the max, but you know, if you wanted to do like a skinny card, you could probably do more. Just always remember, see how tall this is, the flowers. When you fold it, they shift a little bit. So you always have to make sure that you have enough room so that your dies can be completely covered when the card closes. So I'm going to show you how to make this today, and I hope this will be really helpful for those of you who want to get the pop-up petals dies and the bundle. And it's going to be great going into spring, and I just wanted to share it with you today. All right, let me switch over to my other camera here. And we're going to start at the very beginning because it's a very good place to start. Let's start off by making the Casing Tuesday portion of the card, which is the outside. So we're going to start off with a piece of cloud cover cardstock, and this is 8.5 by 5.5, so just the same as a regular card base. And I'm going to grab my trimmer, and we're just going to have my cutting blade. I'm going to move that out of the way, and I'm going to put this at the 4.25 inch mark. The long side's up at the top, and I'm going to score my card base in half. So we'll fold it now and use our bone folder to smooth down that fold. You know, today the supplies on this are so new that they weren't even in my supply list. I get a supply list from These Are My Stamps, and they didn't even have them loaded up yet. So I just had to put some links in for you. Next thing we're going to use this embossing folder, and I didn't check today if this is in stock right now. This embossing folder has been so popular, it keeps going out of stock. I feel like since it got released, I don't know if it was summer or spring, but this one has been so popular. I swear it has been in and out of stock at least 5 times since we got it. You can do beautiful things with this. I am just using it very subtly on the background because I noticed that these little guys are sunflowers. So I thought, how fun. Let's do sunflowers. So we're gonna do a layer that is embossed with that. So let's just grab that out. We need to do some stamping and die cutting, so we'll do that in just a second. I'm just gonna set this aside. This layer that's going to get embossed is 5 1/4 by 4 inches. And we're just gonna pop this in here and just set it aside for when we do our die cutting. And then, would have been nice if I had done some things in advance, but you know what? There was a lot going on this morning. So I am going to do the whole card for you from start to finish, even if you don't want to see it, all the pieces, but you'll want to see things in action. So I've got some scrap pieces of designer series paper, and I'm going to use this blue black called Secret Sea. Some of you who see colors really well will probably see the blue black, but I just see black. It is so dark. So we want to do some flowers, and we're going to stamp the sunflowers once, and we're going to actually stamp it twice because we need one for the front and one for the back. We're going to stamp the rose. And I'm going to put them back. I have a basket here with I have so many stamps we're using today. But this, honestly, it's a spectacular card. You will want to make this. It will be great for birthdays. And it's a beautiful card. We're going to do 2 of these. I'm going to call them tulips. And then we need to do some vases. And I'm just going to clean this off. So I think I've done all of the colors that I want to do in Secret Sea. Oh, look, I got ink on my finger. That's okay. That's what black pants are for. My son teases me about wearing black pants, but honestly, like when you drop things on your pants, you are just happy that they are black. It's the only color I wear as bottoms in my craft room usually. All right, I'm going to take, this is Darling Duckling ink. Let's stamp this vase twice in Darling Duckling. You might notice I'm using in colors. These are our newer in colors, and these are all pieces that I am going to have to die cut. So I want to get these stamped before we do the die cutting. And then I need one more piece of paper. I'm going to do a lot of die cutting today. All right, we're going to do Strawberry Slush and Timid Tiger. So let's start off with Strawberry Slush. And I'm just going to stamp that. Clean it off on my chamois. This is what my chamois looks like. It gets dirty, but it just reactivates with water and the ink stays on the chamois. It is such a game changer with cleaning stamps now, compared to when we used to just use the Stampin' Mist. This is amazing. I love this. You know, there's been certain times when there's been products that have come out, and a simple thing like the chamois is like just amazing. Okay, we're gonna stamp this in Timid Tiger. So we've got Strawberry Slush and Timid Tiger. Okay. Oh, you know what? I don't know what got on here. Like a hair or something. Those of you with long hair will probably understand. Sometimes you pick up things with that drop randomly, and I don't know if you can see that on camera, but you can kind of see there's just a little line there that very much looks like it picked up a hair. So I cleaned it off, and we're just have to restamp it. Okay, I feel like I want to do all my die cutting at one time. So let's get I know I'm going totally out of order. So we're gonna prep this inside piece while we're at it. We're gonna go a little bit out of order, and then we'll come back to it and finish it at the end. So for this inside piece, you're gonna notice it nests inside the cloud cover piece, and there's just a tiny bit of an edge, about 1/8 of an inch all the way around. And so this piece is a little smaller than our card base, and it measures 8 1/4 by 5 1/4. Bring in your trimmer again, and we're going to score this piece. Now, normally a card base is scored at 4 1/4, but this is a little smaller. We're going to score it at 4 1/8. Okay, because it's going to be, this length is 8 1/4, so the halfway point is 4 1/8. And if you make your inner piece smaller, you're always just going to, find that midpoint and then score it. So we're not going to fold this yet. We want this to fold flat. This is what we're going to cut our pop-up element pieces, things inside. Okay. Now we need to bring it over our die cutting machine. We're going to do some massive die cutting. I'm going to zoom out just a teeny tiny bit. Let's open this up. I'm going to move some things to the side so we have room for our massive die cutting effort and embossing. So first of all, we're going to start off with die cutting. So we're going to take our base platform, number 1, our thin die adapter, number 2, a clear plate for the bottom, and another one for the top. We're going to take this inner card base that we just scored, and we're going to, before we do that, one quick thing. Okay, I'm going to move this out of the way real quick. We need to mark this because I want my little pieces to be, I want them to be centered. So I'm going to take this ruler. This is an Omni Grip ruler, and you see on here it says centering. So we can use this as a centering ruler on here to make sure that we get our center mark. So what with a centering ruler you kind of do is you want to make sure your outside measurements are lined up at the same place. So 2 5/8 and 2 5/8 on either side of here. And I'm just going to move this up. There's a line right here that you can see through, and I'm going to put that right along the score line. Does that matter 100%? Not really. The reason I'm doing that is because I want to take my dies. Where are you? Right here. This is my little die, the smaller one that I'm going to use. And I want to be able to see where the centering mark is. This little piece is going to go face down, and these little lines right here are going to point on my score line. They're going to be right on my score line. And I want to see where my center mark is, but I need to find it a little bit further out, right, not right along my score line. So I'm going to take this, line up here at 2 5/8 and 2 5/8 on the other side as well. This lined up here with this line, and then at the 0 mark, I'm going to make myself a little line. If you don't have a centering ruler, no worries. You're just going to take this and you're going to measure over to the 2 5/8 inch mark, okay? And then the next thing you're going to do is you're going to measure over 3/8 from either side. So I'm just going to count over 3 ticks. 1, 2, 3. And on this side, I'm going to do the same. 1, 2, 3. And if you're using the centering ruler, it will be 2 1/4 and 2 1/4 here. If you're measuring from the outside, it's 3/8 and 3/8. And for when I'm lining this up here, I'm going to do this here because it's going to be harder to show you once I get it on my machine. But you can see when I'm doing this one, I'm going to line up the corner right here with that pencil line on the corner. This one I'm going to use as a centering mark. And this one, again, I'm going to line up this corner with here. All the time making sure that these 2 little points will be along the score line. I know this sounds like a lot of rules, but you could also just eyeball it as well. I like to be precise. So that's why I'm just kind of showing you how I laid mine out so that they are all kind of equally spread across here. The other thing you could do, and I wanted to show you this as well, I'm kind of eyeballing the center of this die when I'm going to place it down here. But if you want to, this die on this side is about 2 inches from the edge. So you could also just do a 3/8 here. This one's over 2 inch, and then you measure 3/8 over from this side. If you don't want to do kind of that centering mark, you just have to remember that then this is a corner mark, not a centering mark. Okay? I hope that made it easier and not more confusing. But this little die does all the work. You just need to make sure you put those little points pointing on your score line. All right, let's bring our die cutting machine back in. I'm going to zoom up just a teeny tiny bit again. All right, so we're going to place this right down here. And we're going to take our little die. And now this one's the centering, this one's an edge one. I don't know why, but I like to do the center one first. Okay, so I've got it all placed. Then I'm going to carefully place my piece on top, making sure it doesn't shift. And then we're going to roll it through. We're going to have to do this 3 times. And yes, I actually like the fact that I have to do it 3 times because it does not, this piece, I can make 1, I can make 2. I'm glad that I don't have to do 3 for sure, or 2 for sure, or 1 for sure. I'm glad I can put as many of these on here as I want. And you can see the cut lines, and it's scored here and here as well. So now I'm going to pop this on here, and I've got my pencil line right here. That's 3/8 from the edge. And then I'm just going to line that up again. And we're going to just carefully place this on top. Make sure it doesn't shift. If you want, you can use some Post-it tape to put it in place. And I actually, oh, I see my Post-it tape. Normally it's like right in a different spot, and today it's in a slightly different spot. Okay, and then we're gonna do this one more time. Just lining it up right there. And we're gonna run that through. Today I feel like it's Brenda's die cutting workshop. Honestly, I really should have done some of these die cuts in advance. Oh, stop. I need these to all line up. Okay, so I don't know, this looks, why does this look off? No, it did 5 1/4. I think I shifted this a little bit this way, and this one's a little bit off this way. So they're roughly in the right place. It doesn't have to be perfect because you're still going to put vases on there, and so you can shift them around a little bit and center them just the way you want to. Okay, so we're going to put this away now, and we're going to grab our pieces that we need to die cut. So I think we can do a few of these at the same time. So we'll start off with flowers and vases. So let's center that one on there. And here's this one. Center this one on here. Oh, come on. My fingers, I think, are sticky. There we go. All right. Sticky from the glue. Okay, we're going to die cut these. Come back over here. First pieces. Then we're going to do the second round. And we're gonna, I'm gonna leave room for my other die cuts so we can do 2 at one point. And this one is the one I'm gonna skip, and this is the one that I want to die cut. So I'm just reserving all of these pieces over here on the side. Okay, so we're done with this die. We're done with that die. Done with those. And I'm gonna put these down here. And next off, we have, there we go. I'm gonna cut one of these and one of these. And I think I'm gonna wait and cut that rose on us the second round. So with this little tulip, you're going to align the top, and then you're going to, there's a little hole in the bottom, and you want to make sure you can see a little bit of stamping. And then this one, I think that's aligned pretty well. Put this on top. One of them shifted a little tiny bit. We will work with it though. I usually tape things down so they don't shift, but I'm just like lazy today. Just want things to stay where they stay. Okay. All right, stay. And where is my last? I lost my other. Here it is. My little die piece. The trick is when you have three things that you can't shift things and knock them off course. All right, let's carefully put that plate on top. Let's see if I do a better job with these ones. Oh no, I am doing a terrible job. I think that last one just shifts because there's too many dies. I want to redo, I don't know. I really want to redo these two. I feel like they shifted on me right at the end, and it's a little annoying because you're going to see those outer edges. So, quick redo. Perfectionist me. I'm just going to do this off by the side. I'm taking this. I don't know how well this will stamp here. Not too badly. And here. We're just going to redo it. I think because it was the last thing that went through, and my plate is a little teeny tiny bit warped. So it's just like shifting right at the worst possible moment. And let's see if I can do a better job with this one. Oh, I think it shifted again. It did, but not as badly. You can still see a little bit white. Okay, you know what I'm gonna do? It's all because of the plate, and I could get like a new plate, and if it was flatter, it wouldn't press down and shift. So what we're gonna do this time, we're gonna take some labeling and cover up tape, and we're gonna say no moving when you go through. And it's still shifted a little bit, but not as bad as before. Okay, I think I'm gonna grab a new plate next time, because I feel like the plate is like shifting it over as it goes through. Okay, that was just a lot of die cutting in general, but I do have a little tiny bit of a white edge on the one side, so that will work. It's not tragic. Okay, so we've got our little die cuts. These are the ones I kind of rejected, and then we've got these ones. This and this. And okay, now we need to bring in some more stamps. So for this rose right here, we're gonna do strawberry slush and granny apple green. And if you don't like to color, this stamp has some stamps that do the coloring for you. So for this particular one, you're just going to ink up this circular blob, and you're just going to hover it over top of there, and voila, the rose is colored for you. Now there's no shading, but it is a small image. So if you want to do coloring, and like with Stampin' Blends, then color with Stampin' Blends. You don't have to use these 2 steps. And this one, I'm just going to stamp down here. And there is my stamp. I just re-inked my Granny Apple Green because it was losing its power. Then we're going to do these 2 right here. And we have the 2 for here. Let's get rid of strawberry slush. Okay. I need this one and this one. Let's grab our darling duckling. And for this one, you just have to turn it so that it faces the right direction. And basically you're going to hover over the outline until things line up. You know what? I feel like maybe I turned this the wrong way. Okay, that's it. If it doesn't line up properly going one way, turn it the other way, and then voila. Okay, now I'm keeping this in the same direction, so it's not going to take as long to line this one up because I've already got it twisted to the right side. Okay, so that's like pretty easy, right? Like that's very, very easy. Okay, and then we've got our little centers, and we're going to use pecan pie. You could also use early espresso, or you could do a different color for the centers. I'm kind of doing these as like sunflowers. So again with these, you're just going to kind of twist it until you can kind of see the outlines of the circles in the pecan area. So I just kind of keep twisting it until it looks good. Sometimes you have to over rotate it and then come back a little bit. Okay, next we're going to do these little flowers here. We're going to come back and we're also going to do the leaves on here. There isn't a stamp for the leaves, but I'm going to show you how to do it very easily. So we can get rid of Granny Apple Green. We can get rid of Darling Duckling, and we're going to come in with Timid Tiger. We can get rid of Pecan Pie. And there's a teeny tiny stamp for the top of what kind of looks like a tulipy type flower. So we're just going to come in, hover, and stamp. Come in, hover, and stamp. Okay. And then we're going to take our Granny Apple Green. I have the light. You could use the dark. It doesn't matter. I'm going to use the bullet point. And we're just going to do the top of the flower right under the petals. And we're going to go all the way down on the stem. And then we're just going to color in these leaves. And if you want to, you can use the dark. It doesn't really matter. And in fact, I don't know, I might go ahead and grab the dark because my ink pad on that rose, the Granny Apple Green, is very dark. So let me grab my dark. They do come in pairs, so if you have a light, you will also have a dark. So I'm going to just go run this on the underside of the foliage, the leaves, just so it's like looking a little bit teeny tiny bit darker. Okay, and then I'm going to just go ahead and use the dark Granny Apple Green on the sunflower. We're going to do all the leaves. And then we're going to do the stems, and we're just going to go over the stems, even though they're just like a single line. You're just going to follow along on the stems to make them look a little greener. And we're going to do the same thing for all of these. This is like a no shading sort of thing to do. There isn't a lot of room to do shading. They're small images, but I know some of you will do a better job than me of doing a little shading, but I think that works out just fine. Okay, now I think we have all of the pieces. we'll just kind of shove those to the side, and we're going to come back to our card front. Okay, so actually we're going to put, oh, you know what we forgot to do? We forgot to do our embossing. I was so excited to finish the die cutting, and I'm going to just bring this back in for one moment. So for our thick embossing folders, I'm going to use my #1 base plate, get rid of the clear plates and the thin die adapter. We'll bring in this plate. It also comes with your machine. It's a #4. It's a dark gray plate. And remember, we had our 3D embossing folder. And now I'm just going to take a little moment and just position it wherever I want it. Okay, I like that. And then we'll just close it. This is inside the folder here. We're going to place the die in with the spine, going first. This is the open end on this side. And then we're just going to run this through the machine. Isn't that pretty? I could have a card just with that alone, and that would make me happy. Okay. We're gonna, I know I cut an extra card base over here, but I want to adhere this to the front right here because I want a card front for this card that I already made. So I'm just going to glue this down to the card front here. And you want to use enough glue on here because this is a very bumpy thing, so you want to make sure that the glue actually hits on some of the raised surfaces. So put enough glue, a light layer, but put it all over the place, and then you're just going to adjust this. And you want to make sure you put it on the right side if you've done your pop-up already. Okay. And then we're going to take a little piece of designer series paper. I thought this one matched really nicely, and you will find that paper inside this pack. It's called the Boho Vibes designer series paper. It's a 6x6 paper, and it's got different patterns that have a lot of our in colors, our newest in colors. But we've got like kind of a rainbow with this. We've got this pattern with this. It's kind of got just sort of eclectic vibes. This pattern right here has the stripy pattern that I'm going to use. Then we've got this pattern with that. It's just, it's a very pretty sort of paper pack. But I'm going very neutral because I want the inside to be what people want to see after all the work I'm going to do on the inside. So I'm going to glue this strip. It's a 4 by 1 inch strip. I'm going to glue it not quite an inch from the bottom of the card and centered. So just kind of eyeball it a little bit. If you know, you can make yourself a mark if you don't know where an inch would be, but I'm just going to kind of nestle that down, kind of centered like that. Then we need to get a hello. And I already talked about our pop-up petals bundle, and now I'm going to talk about this punch. I think I already used it on something else already. This is called the 3 banner punch, and you are going to want to get this punch because it is just the perfect size to punch out greetings. And if you're like me, you're going to have a lot of these 1 inch wide scraps left over from cutting different things. I have a whole box full of these. So pick yourself up one of these 1 inch wide scraps and stamp your greeting on it. So I'm going to take my greeting and I'm going to use hello, and this is from Everyday Arches, and I need to find my ink pad, which is got a lot of stuff going on today. This is Secret C ink pad, and I'm just going to stamp my hello on here like that. And you would think this doesn't fit, but it barely does, and it makes me happy. Look, I could do even that one. It would fit on there. But it's so easy, and you know, I don't need to die cut this. It's the one thing on here I don't need to die cut, and this makes me very, very happy. And I'm just going to, so you're going to want this punch. It is part of a bundle. It does have greetings that go with it, which you will probably also want, but let me grab that real quick. Just so you can see, in case you're debating whether or not to get it. It's called Banner Sayings. They have cute little greetings, like there's a happy birthday that would work well for today's card if you didn't want to do what I'm doing. But this is the stamp set that goes with that. But you can buy them separately. So, okay, so now that I have that stamped, I'm going to grab one of these and one of these, and it's kind of going to go together like that. So the first thing you want to do is put a teeny tiny bit of glue right at the bottom of your stem, and I'm going to kind of tuck that leaf a little bit in front of the vase like that, or the planter, and just like that. And you kind of just want to see, okay, I want my little banner ends to show over on the yellow. So you're just going to see, okay, this is going to be about 3/8 maybe from the edge. So now I'm going to put this on here, glue, glue, glue. This card is definitely, it's a special card. So, but the pop-up part is so easy on this card because of those pieces. Now the front of the card is like super easy. If you don't want to do pop-ups on the inside, this is like so easy. But when you do a pop-up, it's kind of like you're doing two cards, because you really have a lot of work that you need to do on the inside of the card. So, okay. And this is going to go a very, very long way. So I don't want to add any embellishments on here, but if it's going a shorter distance, or then this is going overseas, so I want to make sure that it gets there without any problems. So I'm not going to put any lumpy bumpy embellishments on here. If you have some flatter embellishments, you could add them on here right now. That would give a little extra sparkle to the front, but really the showstopper is the inside, right? Which this is the finished card. I have to show you how to do that now. Okay, so we've got our card, and you're going to want to erase any little imperfections on here, get rid of them. Okay. And then what I do for this card is I'm going to fold along the main score line first. So some of these are going to get folded in the wrong direction, but I find this so much easier than trying to work that first part out. So I'm just going to take this and I'm going to fold it in half. Make sure it is folded in half along the score lines, and just smooth that down. Okay. And then I'm going to take these and just kind of pop them the middle in the opposite direction. Then I'm going to turn this around, and I'm going to fold from the back and pop each of these folds out. It's easier to kind of do it from the back. And then this is, I'm going to do this on the other side. These are all going forward. Like that. Okay, and now you can help your card kind of move in the direction you want. These three are coming forward. The original score line is going back, so these turn into mountains. These two on the inside here are valleys, and then the middle one's a valley too. And then you can just bring this down and help it be flat. And then you can do that. All right. You need to decide which side. They're both symmetrical. Do you want this side up or this side up? It does not matter. You want to fold this flat again. And now is the time to do any of the stamping you want to do right now, because once it's glued in, it's much harder to do. It's still doable, but now you want to do your stamping. So I'm going to take my nice little arch here, and I don't think you necessarily need a centering mark for this. I think between having all these three right here, you can kind of gauge where the center is, but you're going to take this and take your Secret C ink pad, turn this around, and I'm just going to take a moment to center it. I want it like no more than ½ an inch from the top, and I'm looking at where these legs are coming down in relationship to my card, just kind of giving it a glance, and once I'm happy, then I'm going to stamp this down. Isn't that cool? I love how that arches. And then I have a butterfly stamp. And this also has a die for it, but I don't need to do a die for this one. I just want to do a couple of little butterflies while this is flat. And since this is going to be backed up on the inside, you're not going to see this on the card front. I can actually use Stampin' Blends to color the butterfly, and I'm going to do Darling Duckling and Timid Tiger. This is just a very quick coloring. I'm not even going to color the body of the butterfly. I just want to give it just a little tiny pop of color. So just Darling Duckling and Timid Tiger. I think this is the light Timid Tiger, and I'll double check. It's the light Darling Duckling too. Okay, so we are now ready. I think we're going to glue this into our card first. You know, that's what I did last time. I wonder if it would be easier if I glued the vases first. I'm going to tell you, let's glue the vases in first, and then afterwards I'll tell you what I thought was easier, because you could do it either way. You could glue this into the card and then do the vases afterwards, but let's do it this way, because I think it might be easier to do this when I don't have the other card base on the back. Okay, so we need to assemble our little flowers. So the first one we want to do is, again, the sunflowers. We're going to put a little dot of glue down at the bottom. And again, I'm going to kind of twist this so that one leaf is kind of facing forward. And I want to glue this one. It's going to be in the middle. And when you're gluing it, you see that score line. You want to glue it just above the score line. Don't try and get it on the score line, because this is going to have to bend. So you want to make sure that you don't impede that. this is the space right here that we can adhere on. We can't go over the top. So you can kind of see there's a little bit of area that can't have glue on it. So instead of putting the glue on here, I'm going to put it on here, and I'm just going to draw myself like a little box that I know is not going to be bigger than my thing. It's kind of just in this area. I'm not going all the way to the sides. And then I'm just going to lay this flat, but I want to make sure that I don't block that fold. That has to be above that area. And I can now, I'm going to just press down on here. This is easier because I don't have that card base on the back. It's a little easier to grab everything. Flower number 2. So this one, I kind of want to do kind of like this. Let's see how I did the other one. Yeah, I kind of did it like this. One's higher than the other. So let's start off with this flower. And I'm just putting a little tiny bit right at the bottom. This glue will hold really well. So it's kind of nice to know that once you've glued this, it's not going to come apart. And then I'm also going to put a little bit of glue down here at the bottom and a little bit on this outer leaf for this one. And then I'm just gonna kind of shift the flowers. I want one to be like a little bit taller, like that. Then I'm going to take this and again I'm going to draw a little box. It's not very big. It's less than an inch of glue. Not going all the way to the sides and not going taller than what I think this is going to be. And then we're just going to glue this down here. The hardest part of this card really is just getting all your pieces ready. These little pieces here, the pop-up pieces, they're so easy. Okay, now for the rose, we're gonna have to do some surgery on the rose, because if I glued this behind here, this is what it would look like, and it would look weird. So we're gonna take some scissors and we're gonna surgery out the leaves here on the bottom, just the bottom leaves, kind of like what they say to do if you're going to put a rose in water. You want to get rid of some of that bottom leaf anyway, because those are what will rot and it will create, your rose won't look so nice. So now we have a nice long stem. So from approximately where those leaves you cut off, you can kind of see where you did that. That's where you're going to put glue going down. And then you can stick that on there, and you can still, like, it still looks like a long stemmed rose, right? But now we don't have these leaves kind of sticking out awkwardly. Okay, again, we're going to draw a little box, very small. And then we're going to put this on here and just center it right above the score line. Give it a little press. Okay, now these are going to fold down. See, the Stampin' Blends bled through, but there's no problem, right? So, okay, our card is ready. Now we just need to find our card base. This is the one that doesn't have anything on the inside yet. So a couple of tips on gluing like a pop-up insert on the inside. When you're doing this, you don't want to glue it all the way into the center. You want to give yourself like a little space. So this is what you're going to do. We're going to glue the bottom first. Make sure this is the top. Okay, great. So we're going to flip this over. This is the bottom. I'm not going to put any glue on this area here. I'm just going to put glue on this area here. And that's going to help the card to have a little bit of flexibility as it opens and closes, that this isn't glued down. But I will put it all along here. So when I glue this down, I'm going to glue it a little bit closer than 1/8 of an inch. I'm going to glue it, I can kind of see where my 1/8 of an inch is on either side when centering it, but I'm going to glue it just a teeny tiny bit closer to the edge, so that right here, can you see that? That score line and the end of that, they are not going to, this is a little bit on this side rather than just right over top of it, okay? You can see that? Okay, then we're gonna do this side here. And again, no glue on this area. We're just gonna put glue here. And I put glue everywhere, but it's like not big and blobby. It's really a light stream. And then we're going to just close this down. And it kind of helps if you kind of pop this down just a teeny tiny bit already. And then we're going to press. So this is going to be like the natural closure of where the card wants to close. Because we're going to fold this flat for mailing, this is how it's going to want to be closed. And then lift it up, and you can see there's just a little bit less room on the top and the bottom than there is on the sides. It's like just a teeny tiny bit, but just by giving your spine a little bit of room, it can flex and lift up a bit. I don't know if you can kind of see the gap where it's just lifting off a little bit from the card. That's why you don't want to put glue in that crucial area. Just put it on the top and the bottom, those big swatchy areas, and then this will allow your card to have some flexing ability. This card most naturally is going to want to sit up at like a 90-degree angle. Is that 90 degrees? I think so. 90-degree angle. It's naturally going to want to sit up like that when it's sitting on a shelf or on a table or something like that. So that's kind of nice that it will kind of just naturally stay open, and you can write your message down here. And if you're worried about, messing up the card down here, just create yourself another little layer right here, write it separately, and then glue it into place. Or maybe you want to do like a little label or something like that. You can put it on here, and even just put it on with a teeny bit of adhesive. Maybe the person doesn't want to have that message sitting out, but you can make this area look nicer too with your writing. If you just add like just one more just white layer on top here, if you're worried about how your writing is going to look on the inside. So that is all there is to it. And I know that took a little while, but I die cut all those little pieces. I colored them all. And once you do one of these cards, you're going to want to do more of them. I could have, if I wanted to make it easier on myself, I could have just done one flower in the center, right? I could have eliminated these two and then just had "You Are So Loved," and that would have been around just the one flower. So there are ways to simplify this card if you don't want to take the time to do the extra vases. But this is kind of like a get well card, and I wanted to have flowers, but I didn't want to necessarily send someone flowers overseas because I wasn't sure what the restrictions were at the hospital and everything. So I just, I think this is kind of a nice way to send flowers without sending flowers. Do you know what I mean? All right. I really hope that was helpful to you, and I hope that didn't overwhelm you. This is not a hard pop-up card when you do all the little steps like that. It is just such a fun card to create, and I hope you will think about getting the pop-up petals bundle. And definitely, I love this 3 banner punch. I've already used it a lot. I can't stop using it. So this is such a nice thing for greetings, for quick greetings. It's just like so easy. I love it. Okay. All right. I've done a lot of talking. And if you like this video, though, I hope you will subscribe to my YouTube channel, and give me a thumbs up, leave me a comment, engage in the video in some way, and that will help me get seen by other people. And I appreciate that so much because this is my job. So I want to be able to bring you things that you can use. All right, I am going to say hello to all of you as I do at the end of all of my videos. And if you have questions for me while I'm live, I'd be happy to answer them while I'm still on here. Hello, Beach Bum. And she says the set is on her wish list and she loves it. You know, a lot of these online exclusives right now, I love them. I want to show them, but we're still almost in Christmas mode. But I couldn't help but show this one. I feel like this is going to be a really popular one just because it makes pop-up so easy and accessible and quick. All of those elements, you don't have to cut and score. I know, like I measured, but you can eyeball it. It's not a precise science. Really, you just need to know that those little lines need to be, or those little points need to be on your score line, and you can move it anywhere along the score line, and it doesn't have to be perfect, right? Yeah, I just wanted to show you where I would align it if I wanted it perfectly aligned, basically. Hello, Carol from Connecticut. Hello, T from Oregon. Hello, Tanya from Kentucky. And good morning, NJ Cardmaker. Hello, Nisi from Georgia. Hello, Deborah. She says a little late, but hello. Tanya says that card is gorgeous. Thank you. Hello, Mary. Carol says she loves the card. Tanya loves the pop-up. Nancy says such a cute card. Hello, Ellie from Connecticut. And hello, Deborah from Virginia. Nice to have you both here. Hello, Tina. She said she did not get a notification that I was going live. I'm sorry. You know, sometimes the emails go out. I did send out an email. And if you're subscribed to my YouTube, it should send you a notification. But I don't know. I think sometimes YouTube picks and chooses. So it could be sometimes MailChimp it takes a while to do the delivery of the email. So I apologize for that. I'm pretty sure I sent out the email though, so I'm sorry. Hello, Jean. She says she hasn't missed much and she likes the pretty card. Thank you. Hello, Linda from Oregon. Kathy says she loves her centering ruler for both quilting and paper crafting. Yes, this ruler is Omni Grip rulers, or I think they're by Omni Grid. They make rulers in a whole bunch of different sizes. If you want this particular size, this is great for paper crafting. It's a 12-inch size. I have it linked down below for you if you want to get one of these. This is one of my favorite rulers, as well as this one. I love this one too. This is one for like if you need to figure out 16th inch measurements. Right now, these are my two most grab rulers that I use for paper crafting, and they both have different purposes, but they're great. And I actually have another size of this ruler for when I used to do sewing. I haven't had time to sew for a while, but I have one for when I do sewing that's a little bit bigger. But these are really great for many different purposes. Let me see where I left off. Kathy says she started using the ruler in 2002 when scrapbooking her son's high school album. Oh my goodness, that's awesome. And she says the ticks are at the 1/8 inch mark. Yes. So if you don't need 1/16, these are 1/8 inch ticks, so they're very nice and handy. Hello, Lois. And she says she's going to watch the replay. The card is adorable, she says. And Kathy says the card is so cute. And Carolyn asked me, what is at the bottom of my glue holder jar to stop the glue from dripping out? Well, I don't know if it stops the glue from dripping out, but it does kind of plug the hole a little bit, and it's just dried up glue that has come out. Now this, I haven't cleaned this out. I only cleaned it out once, the bottom of my glue jar, after a few years of using it, and now another few years have gone by. So it does eventually, some of the glue does drip out, and it creates kind of this glue thing at the bottom, and it does kind of help my glue from, you know, leaking out, and it does also probably keep some air from coming in. And basically this just sits on my desk. I never cap it. It just is there all the time. And the glue is ready to go. I have done this now for several years and I have never looked back. It is just one of the handiest things. My glue is ready to go. I love using this particular glue on my projects because it holds my projects together and they don't come apart. And that is why I use it, especially for my 3Ds. Tombow multi-purpose glue is the one that I use, and you can get it right in my Stampin' Up! Store. Most of the products that I shared with you today are down below in the description of the video. If you can't find something, just shoot me an email and I will share where I got it. I don't like to use things that you can't get because that's just frustrating for you. Sometimes things will go on back order, that is true, but for the most part, things should be in stock. And I have not checked, where is my sunflower? Oh, it's down here. This sunflower 3D embossing folder, this one has been going in and out of stock, but definitely pick it up when you can. It is kind of like a surprise outlier embossing folder because it doesn't necessarily match anything else in our collection, but it is such a beautiful folder. People have been using it just by itself. They've been doing different techniques with it. If you Google this, a Stampin' Up! 3D sunflower embossing folder, you will find what other people have done with it. It's very cool. What I did today was kind of boring, but even at its most boring, I love it. It just enhances this particular bundle really well. So you can definitely use it with it. All right, well, thank you all for being here with me today. I hope you have a great Tuesday. I will be back here on Friday with a new tutorial for you. I'm not sure what I'm going to do yet. I think I'm probably still going to stick with holiday catalog stuff. I don't think we're quite ready to move into the spring 3D things yet. I think some of you still want to see some holiday stuff, but just a few weeks left of that because if you want to make stuff, you probably need to order in November to still give yourself time to make stuff before all the holiday stuff hits. Have a great day, and I will see some of you on Friday. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.